Good evening, YouTubers, DIYers out there. Tonight, I'm bringing to you a little video on the Dodge, the W250. As you know, it's winter in upstate New York right now. Even though you really wouldn't know it, there's no snow on the ground in some parts of the state where I'm at. West of me and I think north of me, there is plenty of snow. But we have green grass, and it's the 27th of January. Tonight, I'm bringing to you a video. We're going to show you a little action on the Vevor dent puller. And what I've got is, in the wintertime, you really can't paint without a paint booth that's heated, but you can do the body work. And the body work I'm talking about tonight, people, is body work on the Dodge. And what we've got here, this is the driver's door. Okay, it's a door that says it's been stripped of all the glass. It's been stripped of the corner window here. If you know what I'm talking about, this one here. Let me show you. Your vent window. Okay, we've pulled that out. What we're going to do is clean this up and actually paint this. There's new rubber that I've got to order for this here, but I'm not going to pull this out yet, just in case for some odd reason I can't get it, which I know I can. But the other thing I wanted to show you, let me turn you around. Okay, this is better. So as you can see, the vent window, these ones were painted, so I'm going to go ahead and sand them and get them back to high gloss black. Here's a little tech tip, people. It doesn't matter what bag you get, but you can save all your parts for the wing windows and stuff. You want to label everything and put it in a bag so that when you're ready to reinstall it, you're not running to the junkyard or trying to find your parts. As you can see, this is the door assembly that opens the door, that locks the latch. I mark everything on there best I can. This is your door handle. Okay, these are all parts that will go back in the door. These are parts that have been painted. Okay, these are parts that I've actually sandblasted down in the sandblast cabinet. As you can see, even the fan itself, we've got all the original paint off it. They have a kind of a, from factory, they have kind of a cheesy primer that they put on it. It's like a black, it's just a black paint that they put on it. But here's all the spring perches for the front end. These have all been sandblasted 100%, and that is a self-etching primer that's on there. So we have those. This is the huge piece here that's tapered in. This is for the steering knuckle. As you can see, I'm prepping these all ahead of time so that when I put them on the truck, they'll be painted high gloss black with that urethane sealer. This is the other bracket that goes against the frame that holds the power steering box, but I want that all painted underneath. I don't want rust behind it. We're trying to do it right, people. We're trying to do it right. Here's the clutch fan. Even that I sandblasted intricately all through the little crevices, and we wound up painting it. And as you can see, done right, people. It's done right, because if you're not doing it right, you're not doing it. Okay? You're fooling yourself. If you think you're doing it and you're not doing it right, you're just doing a half-ass job, well, that's what you'll get, is a half-ass result. And what I've got here, the driver's door, when I bought the truck, the only real damage to the truck, the driver's door, had a big dent inside the door. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here, the door was caved in. This is just primer, people. This is just primer. This is not body filler yet. This was all caved in really deep. And what I had to do is, I'll show you when I flip the door over, I had to cut a rectangle section out in order to get tools in there in my hands to push this dent back out. But when you do that, okay, when you do that type of a repair, the metal has been stretched. Excuse me, the metal has been stretched. And what you'll get is a tin canning, dunk, 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 like that. It'll pop in and out real easily, real flimsily. But as you can see, I'm pushing on this real hard. This is not tin canning, and it was. It actually was tin canning, people. In several spots on the truck, it was tin canning, on certain spots you could feel it popping in and out. And you say, well, how did you get it to, how did you get that to stop tin canning? Well, there's a process you can use, and let me show you. This is a, one second, people. This is a rod here, right? And what you can do with this tool that I have, this dent puller, is you put this in and you hit the electrode, and what it does is it heats this up super hot in the end. And you say your area here is tin canning. It's making like a flex and it's popping in and out like a tin can. You would run this over the top of the surface and heat it up real good, okay? And then what you do is you take an air gun directly after it and you hit it with air, and it actually re-shrinks the metal. And when it does that, it tightens the metal up so you don't have that tin canning. This is a process that this does work, but if there's any negative thing on this dent puller, these are very, very brittle. I could snap this like a piece of candy with my fingers if I wanted to right now. It's very, very, it's not strong this way. It's very, very brittle. It works. Don't get me wrong, it works. But I'll tell you what works better. Just take you a small map gas torch, and if this is an area that's tin canning, you have to chase it a little bit. So you would heat this up, not glowing red. You just want to get it to where you see the metal changing. Just a little bit of discoloration, almost like a, you can just tell by looking at it that it's starting to change. And then take it off and hit it with air. And what it does, people, is the metal, when it heats up and when it cools down, it shrinks. And it tightens itself back up. So this door had tin canning all over it, and I actually repaired all the spots. We do have one other spot on this door, and let me see if I can show you. Let me see if I can get the camera right. Right here, people, you see this black Sharpie I've got here? What I've got is the rest of the door's in pretty good shape. All the highs and lows are taken care of. It looks really good coming across. I do have one spot right here. Okay, as you can see, right here, there's a little belly right here. And what we've got for that is they have these, as you can see this here, what we want to do is in that belly, we want to snip a piece off. I'm going to cut this with a cutters, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this in here like this, and this tool, I have a tool with that dent puller. When you put it in there, it will actually spot weld the low points of this end. And then what we're going to do, once that's in, we're going to take our dent puller, we're going to hook it in them grooves, and we're going to use this slide hammer right here, and we're going to see if we can't pull that dent out. Now, this one here, this is good for small areas like if you have a small dent. There's a few little dents like this here. I fixed this one. What you can do is you can put this on here and directly weld it to there. It'll solder in, and then you can take the slide hammer and it'll pull like a small dent out. Very, very useful for that. And we may possibly even get to that dent puller here in this video. But the main one I wanted to show you was this one here. Now, as you can see over here, this is the ground. And it has like a little knurled nut that goes on there right here. And you're supposed to be able to strike it with this tip and it will stick to the metal, but it's so heavy that it really doesn't work that good. So unless you can go through a hole and tighten this down on the back, I just found it's easier to take a small pair of vice grips and get a good ground. Now, there are some people online, let me get you back up here. There are some people online that are saying, oh, that dent puller, I didn't have no luck with it. Well, if you read some of the threads, first of all, I got to say I've had great luck with it. If you read some of the threads, it tells you have to have a good ground, people. You can't go in there and have even with a welder, you can't have a half-ass ground and then think you're going to do something. The welder will be intermittent. It will spit and sputter. It just doesn't work that way. But same thing with the dent puller. What I want to show you is how strong these right here, these little strips are. So if you've got a crease in a door, like a small crease, and I actually had one in the lower part of this door, if you've got a crease in the door or you've got a low spot in the door, you really don't want to go through and hook this to it, because what you can do is you can just make a bunch of small raised up spots, and you'll get the dent out, but then you have to flatten them high spots, and it's a lot more work. I'll say this about this here. These are super heavy. These are not cheap. These are a super heavy weight on the end here. So when you give that a tap, you're actually moving some metal. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this on. I want to show you what we're doing. But overall, the door, I've got all the tin canning out. I've got all the, let's take a look at it while we're talking. I've got all the little spots fixed on it. Okay. In the back here, this was all over here. This was all twisted forward. I had to push this door back and repair it all on the back side here. And I'll bring you around to show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see here, people, all this here, this whole spot was caved in. I had to pull this all out. Over here in the top, this was all caved in. And the thing of it is, you see how nice that is now, right? Look at over here, let me show you. You really can't get to the inside and do any kind of, you can't pound it out because there's pieces in here for the window track. So you have to, let me get a light and show you what I'm talking about. Do you see the window track, the pieces there, the one with the hole in it right here? This is another piece of metal in front of that. And a lot of times, that's where these dent pullers come in handy. As you see these, this piece here, there's more up in here. This is not the outside of the door. This is another piece that's welded together. So in order to get this repaired, all this here was bent. I used that dent puller and straightened this all out. I straightened this one all out. Now what we're going to do, and I'm going to give you an overview. Look how nice that door turned out. Look how nice the door turned out here. This was all twisted in. It was at an angle like that. I got it all back nice and slowly. We worked out all the kinks in it. I do have another door that I was doing measurements off to make sure that everything was, how do we put it, aligned correctly. It actually, even on the front here, it actually took this part and it twisted it forward. We had quite a little bit we had to bring it back. So we had some wrinkling. Where are we at? Right over here. Do you see this over here, people? Right here. This was all caved in. I had to pull this back out. We do have a small hole there. Right, where are we at? We have a small hole here. And what I'm going to have to do is tack that up with a welder before I could just throw some fiberglass over it, but that's not, I'm not trying to do it like that. I'm trying to do it really as best as I can, okay? So what we're trying to do is do our best. We're not trying to just, this isn't a Bondo buggy, you know? So the other thing is we've got another scenario here. Let me show you. Right here, right where the mirror went in, there's a dent. The mirror must have hit something and it pushed this hole in and it created a little divot here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up, that's a good spot right there for a situation like this. Let me bring you down here and show you. That's a good scenario for here, if you can see that. And when you yank it out, you're yanking a small area out. Okay, so let that be a lesson to you if you're using a dent puller and you're saying to yourself, well, I'm just not sure I'll be able to use it. It's trial and error, people. Okay, it's trial and error. Sort of like this darn tripod. Okay, this is a really bad tripod, but you know, it's my tripod and I'm gonna do the best I can with it. But let me get you over here because we're gonna turn you where I can get you looking downward here, and I want to bring you in on the action. Let me see if I can. I can't. Well, won't let me zoom that way. Okay. Well, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a scenario that says you'll be able to see everything I'm doing here, hopefully. Let me tighten this up. I don't want my phone to fall. All right, that looks better. I promise you I'm going to get a better tripod. That's one thing I do promise. But without further ado, let's go ahead and see what we need here. So right now, it looks like I'm going to want to come in like this to about there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to nip this. Now these are reusable, but I think you can buy more of them as well. So I'm going to turn the machine on. The machine is actually very quiet. You can't even hardly hear it run. I can't even hear it run. And then what we're going to do, make sure you're wearing glasses because sometimes it does throw a pretty good spark. We're going to put it just like this. I hope you can see this. Let me see if I can get you closer. Hold on, people. I'm going to put you right on the door so you can get some action. The only thing I will have to do is change is when I turn around And hold on one second. When I turn around and go to yank on the door, you won't be able to see that because I gotta move. I mean, you'll see me yanking on it, you just won't be able to be on the door. So hopefully you can see this. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna set this one here. And as you see the tip we're using? It's like a straight flat tip. It goes right in here like this. Okay, and that's what welds the bottom to the metal. Again, you need a good ground now. Don't be doing it halfway. Okay, so let's go here. See that? I don't know if you could hear that, but it welded right to it. And I'm going to bring you down and show you. All right, so I want to bring you right down and show you 1 second. I'm trying to get you in on the action here at the compound. So let's take a look. That's got to be better. Okay. Take a look at what it did. It welded this one and it welded that one. Okay. Remember, we have a low spot here. We don't want to individually pull on it because you'll just make a bunch of pimples on the door. I want to bring you down here and I want you to see it. Okay. Okay. I think you got to see that good on the camera. The other thing you're going to want is a good outlet. You don't want something that's loaded up. Now, this did pop my breaker a few times, but I think I only got a 15 amp breaker on that one on the wall. So I just give it a second and wait, and then, okay. And what I was surprised about was how strong this holds to the door. You actually have to twist this off when you're done. But one thing I will say is you will not be disappointed with this type of pull. Okay? It gives you multiple areas to pull on. All right, now here that we did that, so this is the head. You can see the head unit, okay? We're going to go ahead and I'm going to set you back up over here. Hold on 1 second.